Billy, how you doing?
Good, good.
I often wondered, how do you define yourself? Who are you? Nice easy question to start with.
Yeah, who am I? I suppose I'm a Ballymunner, a person that is proud of where he comes from, a person that is still looking for the meaning of what I'm actually supposed to do. I like, supporting the area and helping people in Ballymun. I'm also obviously a sports person as well, and I play Gaelic football. Hobby-wise, I like MMA. Try to play the saxophone a little bit. That's probably me in a nutshell, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting that you went for where you're from first, because I thought that maybe you would have said I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a Dublin footballer, but the first thing you identified with was Ballymun. Why was that?
I think that's where it all starts. Your business, as a businessman, that's where it started. The local area helped me, and playing sport, that's where I'm from. That's the club I play for, Ballymun Kickham. So for me, that's where it all began, and then it branched out from there.
I remember reading a piece where you talked about the importance of Paddy Christie in your life. Could you explain a bit to people who are maybe unfamiliar? People are going to be familiar with him as a Dublin footballer, but you know, you guys all have lives beyond what we think of you as just Dublin footballers, and Paddy Christie clearly had an impact on you.
Yeah, when I was younger I played soccer a lot, and then we had kind of mini leagues in the Holy Spirit School, and Paddy Christie came up and had a look at the mini leagues and took a few of us up to Ballymun Kickhams, and I suppose it started from there. The big thing for me was the extra stuff he did as a coach, where he used to come to the school and he used to announce that Philly McMahon come outside of the class, and you'd feel a bit, you know, oh, Jesus, I feel big here, I feel special. And
this is under 10.
This is yeah. So we were still in primary school, and you'd come out of class and he'd say to you, training tonight in Poppetry Park at 5:30. And that's all he'd do, and you'd go back into class, but you'd feel special.
Yeah.
And it's the contact hours outside of what a normal coach did made a difference in terms of how I suppose stuck out GA instead of the likes of soccer and stuff like that.
A lot of people feel this thing that, you know, they owe a little sense of something to the club they came from, but a lot of people don't do very much about it. You actually do have a project to try and help at-risk people to get off the live register. Yeah. Why did you do it?
Why? I suppose I went to a talk in a drug rehabilitation centre in Ballymun, and I got a sense of achievement when I spoke to them about my story and my brother's story. My brother struggled with drug addiction a lot of his life, and unfortunately passed away in 2012. So that year, you know, I kind of felt that I could be in a position to help people, and I spoke to a couple of people in the area that were going to help me achieve it, and it was very successful. We got 13 people off the live register, 7 went on to employment, and 6 went on to further education. So I think it was just that sense of that I could do it, that when we won the All-Ireland 2012, the profile started to help me to go and talk to these people in these places and try help them.
Did that come naturally to you? Because a lot of people find it kind of intimidating to stand up in front of a room and say, here's my story, and I'm going to be very honest with you and tell you some stuff that might be difficult to talk about.
Well, I wouldn't be a big public speaker, but I'd find it easy enough to speak in terms of what I've experienced and talk about my life story or my brother's, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to continue his legacy, and I'm sure if he was here today, he'd be telling his story. So unfortunately, he's not, and I suppose that's what I want to do now, is to explain that there's people out there that are willing to help, you know, if you want it, really.
Yeah, so it's obviously very personal for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way people treat drug addicts nowadays is very wrong, and you constantly see it in social media and see it in the streets, the way people call people junkies and stuff like that. It's the wrong thing. It's actually, you know, it's the way the law treats drug addicts is wrong. Like, you know, we need to treat them like a normal addict, a chocolate addict, or someone that smokes or someone that drinks, or, you know, it's the same thing as an addiction, but it's treated the wrong way, and it's probably we're secluding people that are addicts, whereas we need to probably make them feel that, you know, we're here to help them, and you know, that's a big thing for me. I would have been the brother that would have shown the tough love, and probably when I look back on it now, it's probably the wrong way to do it. If I helped my brother kind of feel more loved and didn't have the tough love that I gave, maybe he would have, you know, come off drugs a little bit quicker, or I don't know. But it's definitely something that's stuck in my head, that we don't treat drug addicts the right way, and we should be, I suppose, you know, helping them as much as we could.
Yeah, again, you know, like a lot of people feel this but don't really know what to do with it. So when did that crystallise? Like, did someone invite you to come to the task force to make the speech?
Me and Eamon Fennell were asked, he kind of asked me, he said, look, I'm not from Ballymun, would you come down for this talk with me? And I said, yeah, I'll come down. And from that day, he said, look, they're probably going to ask you to say a few words. And I was like, what do I say?
Yeah.
So what came out of my mouth was just the story of my brother, like, you know, and you could see them really focusing on what I was saying, and I kind of got a really big shock after that, and I said, Jesus, this is something that I could really do, you know, I could probably help a lot more people here.
Yeah.
I suppose the other thing was that a friend of mine was training in one of my gyms, and he said to me, he's actually recovering addict as well, and he said to me, you know, I want to bring a friend up to try your classes. And he mentioned this fella's name, and I said, you know, I'd known this fella, and he was really bad in drugs, and I said, look, I don't think it'd be a good idea bringing him up. You know, is he really bad in drugs still? And he said, no, he's okay, I'll bring him up. And he walked through the door, and I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, this fella that I'd seen maybe a couple of months previous to that, he was probably on death's door, walking around Ballymun, you know, really bad on drugs. And he walked through the door, and he was clean, and you know, it was just the feeling I got was the only comparison I can give is winning an All-Ireland. That's how much it meant to me, you know, because my brother didn't get the opportunity to do that. So when this fella walked through the door and I seen him, you know, clean, and I was like, you know, geez, this is amazing.
What did he put his getting clean down to? Sorry.
I asked him, I said, how did you do it? And he said, could you imagine waking up every morning and fighting Mike Tyson? And one morning you wake up and you say, no, I don't want to fight you anymore. So I said, but there has to be more to that. And he said, that's it. You just make the choice to say, no, enough's enough.
You said you had 13 people in the course, 7 ended up getting a job and 6 went to further education. So that's a pretty phenomenal hit rate. You would expect that the government would get on board and say,
yeah,
you know, this is a great thing, there's loads of money here,
yeah,
go forward and multiply.
Yeah, the second year that we tried it, we went back and looked for funding, and it was actually cut. But it was the partners that we had involved, for some reason they lost their contract. Kind of all the social programs became privatised and they lost their contract. So that was disheartening, like, you know, that we'd have such a success with the people that participated in it. And the second year that we tried to do it was cut because of funding.
Yeah.
So the objective then was to come up with an idea to not rely on funding. And what the plan is to set up a private fitness course, and people that would privately pay for the qualification, part of that money will go towards a scholarship, the John Caffrey Scholarship is named my brother. So it's self-funded that way.
Okay.
But in saying that, there has been departments in the government that have been in touch and they're willing to help out, especially 2 departments at the minute. So hopefully that'll do well. Okay,
well, fingers crossed that it does. The fitness thing obviously is kind of the core of that, and that seems to be the core of the rest of your life in a lot of respects. When did you get good at that? How did that become something that you were like, hang on a second, I could do this?
Yeah, I enjoyed it from such a young age. I think I looked at coaches and I took bits from them, and really kind of enjoyed learning from, especially in the Dublin setup, learning from different.
When did you get into the Dublin setup? Is it under 14? Is it?
Development squad, so that would have been, I think, under 13, 14s,
right.
yeah, in around that age.
Were you a standout player at that age grade?
No, I think I just transitioned a little bit physically when I hit 21s, in between minor and 21s.
Right.
So wouldn't have been a big name player at a young age. No, definitely not. I probably would have potential, but I think it was it was probably second year 21s.
Right.
I became the Dublin captain. Jim Gavin made me Dublin captain for the 21s. That's probably where I transitioned then, and I got on the senior team, and everything kind of flew from there.
Jim obviously saw something in you between 19 and 20.
Yeah.
What were you doing different? Like, how did you suddenly go
at
from
that
being,
age?
Yeah.
Strength and conditioning. I put it down to a lot of it down to strength and conditioning. You know, Ballymun Kickhams would have had 9 players on that Dublin under 21 team that year. So we were doing something right with Ballymun Kickhams. Obviously, Paddy was the manager there as well. But physically we were. I remember doing the testing that year in DCU, and the top 9 lads were Ballymun Kickhams lads.
Right.
You know, so I think Strenaglishan had a big part in my development.
So who got you into that?
football.
Like, what was, because again, a lot of people don't really know about it as even a career option or a...
Yeah, well, like, I mean, when I finished school, I would have been the type of student that wouldn't have been thinking about points and going to university. But I always wanted to keep the parents happy to say, you know, geez, I'm still going to college. So I actually went and done a PLC course in Closhie Ida,
Right.
which has the college title, but it's still not university and didn't need many points. So I went and did that, and I got a job. Actually, it was a 2-year course. Got a job in my first year. Worked out in a gym out in Malahide called the Arena Health and Fitness as a lifeguard. But I think at that stage I didn't actually like the industry.
Right.
I was getting up at 6:30 in the morning, and I was just like, oh, this is not something that I could do for the rest of my life. And I'm playing football in the evenings, and I was teaching classes throughout the day, and I'm marking a student at night in training, and I'm just like, this is not going to happen. Like, I need to, you know, do something to improve my performance, you know. So then I went and got a job in DCU the gym,
Right.
DCU Sport, so they accommodated me in terms of football. At that stage, I was starting to come on the Dublin under 21 senior team, and I had a big car, like young and stupid. I bought a big car, had a big loan, and I was surrounded by people that were in college, and especially with Ballymun Kickhams, there's kind of two different communities within the one. There's Glasnevin and there's Ballymun. So a lot of the Glasnevin lads would have been in university, and I kind of got a bug that I wanted to go and do that. But I didn't know what way to do it, and I went and approached Paddy Christie and Ian Robertson, and they gave me advice. And the big thing was that I had to quit work. I had a big loan, had a big car, and I needed to go back and repeat my leaving cert. I'll wait a couple of months extra to become a mature student. So I said, no, I'm just going to go back and repeat it. I spoke to the parents, and they said they'd try support me in whatever way they could financially. So they used to feed me. I used to get a long pan and a packet of ham, and they used to make me sandwiches for the week. And I used to have €2 a day to buy a drink, and I'd drive into school in Plugget College in a big Audi A4. But people must have thought I was loaded, but I was actually broke at that stage. So from there, what happened was I actually set up a few classes in Ballymun Kickhams GA Club, and that's how the gyms came about.
Right, that was the first one then?
That was the first one, yeah.
I need money, I need something to do, what can I do?
I need money to
I can
buy
do this.
better sandwiches in school, yeah. So that's what happened, yeah.
So this year, in terms of the football itself, it's clear that it was your best year. I think you would probably agree with that. What changed? Why this year so spectacularly good from a personal perspective, in terms of the skill set, in terms of everything that happened for you this year? Why was it different?
The last probably 4 or 5 years, what I've done with Dublin has probably basically just come to it's accumulated together, and basically I got a good year, like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not, like, I mean, I suppose I've had a stop-start career, you know, with Dublin. I've dropped in 2010, 2009.
Can you take us back to being dropped? That was Pat Gilroy who dropped you.
Yeah, 2008 I was playing with under Paul Caffrey, and that was his final year. Pat Gilroy came in 2009, and I was looking forward to giving it a good lash and trying to get me position, because I'd made my debut. I played against Louth in the Leinster Championship, and I was like, you know, this could be a good year. This could be the start.
Yeah.
I could possibly get a position this year. And little did I know I was going to be dropped.
Was it straight away? Was it?
Yeah, it was at the beginning of the year.
Right, okay.
It was at the beginning of the year. We were doing kind of trial games between the different parts of Dublin. I was Dublin West, I think. I think I'm West. And that was it. Like, yeah, you got the phone call, you're dropped.
And was it straightforward? It was like, we need you to work on this, this and this, or it was like, here, listen, not this year, thanks very much?
Yeah, not this year, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
Yeah, I spoke to Pat about it, you know, when he stepped away as the Dublin manager, and you know, what was the reason for it, and I think he just said that. Remember, he said, you know, I believe that anything I do is to help you, like, you know. And Pat would have been kind of, I would have had a love-hate relationship with Pat, but just because he wanted for me to achieve so much, you know. So Pat would give out to me knowing that I'd react in the right way.
Yeah.
And I suppose when he dropped me, he knew that I would probably react in the right way, and I probably had my best year in club football in 2010. 2009. Brought me back in 2010, and I was probably a different animal at that stage. I had a different kind of aggression to my game, and it helped me massively.
You work in an industry where you're constantly asking people to improve their performance and tweak it just that little bit. What are you working on? If you were teaching yourself in class here, what would you be saying?
Yeah, well, I had a good year, and I think I did things better than I did the previous year, but I still think there's a lot to improve on.
What things are you talking about?
I can't let me secret out of the bag. No, but I think it's...
I'm talking about football. Are you talking about like on the field, or are you talking about training?
Both on and off the field. I think the big thing for me, another thing that helped me last year was balance in the lifestyle. So the business were going really well. I was spending a little bit more time with the family, which I probably would have neglected, and probably a lot of sports people do, if they're non-professional, obviously. Because we have to put so much into it that we kind of go, oh, I've got to meet my parents, I've got to meet my girlfriend. So I'm still not good at that. I still need to be better at that. Still need to be seeing more of my friends regularly, like, you know. But the balance is very important, I feel. I still need to have hobbies. I still need to go, and if I want to go and do MMA training, I need to do that. And I've done that last year really well, but there's still things that I need to improve on to be a better player, to where I feel I can get to.
In terms of skill set on the field as well?
Yeah, I think I was really good technically this year.
We wouldn't really have seen you as a free scoring cornerback in previous seasons.
No, well,
that's it.
I could have done that a couple of seasons ago, but I probably wasn't in my head to be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, probably I was like in my head going, I'm a cornerback, I can't do that. Jim Gavin lets you kind of go and say, you know, yeah, I'll let you do that once you do your job.
Do you have a chat about that? Like, is that here, listen, I'm seeing opportunities here. My natural instinct is I might get in trouble if I go forward. Yeah. Should I go forward? What's the story?
You don't talk about it, but I think it's having that relationship with your manager that you can kind of go, he will actually let me express myself out here. And if I do something wrong, he'll pull me up and he'll tell me, like, no, we don't want you to do that. Yeah. So that's the relationship all the players have with Jim, and it's refreshing. Like, it's an enjoyable time to be a part of the Dublin setup. Like.
Yeah, you had your fair share of controversies this year.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that aspect of life, where?
I don't mind. I don't really go out to play to get to being controversial, like, you know. But I think it's a part of the game. It's a physical contact sport, and as a back, you're probably always going to get it. And I mean, like, you look at the teams over the last couple of years, they've all got one player that's always going to be in the limelight for the wrong reasons, and it's not something that I like being in the limelight for. But it's a part of my game. I like to be aggressive, and that's probably one of the ways I try to get me advantage over my opponent. Do
you feel that it maybe had an impact on the voting for Player of the Year? That actually.
Not really. I think Jack McCaffrey deserves it. Like, you know, he's a brilliant year. He's you could talk all day about the potential that he has and what he's achieving now at the minute at such a young age. He kind of deserves it, like, you know. And Bernard, like, you know, I could have been probably third choice, you know, because Bernard was so good. He scored 620 from play. He probably had a better year than the year he won it, like, you know. So no, not really. Like, I don't know. It's not for me to answer, I suppose.
When they asked you or they talked to you about the All-Ireland semi-final, it was like, we're playing Mayo, Aidan O'Shea's ripping it up, strong contender, Football of the Year, he's your man. They're like, great.
Yeah. I think Mayo, their forwards, they've got, you know, I would have marked O'Connor in the All-Ireland in 2013, and I would have took any of them. Like, I would have took any of their forwards because they're so good. Same with Kerry. But Aidan O'Shea had a good campaign, and he, as you said, he probably had the potential to win Footballer of the Year. So for the manager to come to me and say, you know, this is the man you're marking, it showed that he had faith in me, and you know that you're going to be marking one of their main players today, and go out and do your job.
Kerry game, everybody's slagging it off. The quality wasn't great. It struck me that the conditions weren't great. It was actually quite difficult, and that ultimately there's a lot of pressure. You know, everybody expecting the best game of the season in the All-Ireland final is a bit dumb, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have loved for it to be a sunny day and kind of the normal kind of weather that you have in an All-Ireland final day, but then the rain happened, and I was rubbing my hands saying, "This is my day." Like, you know, as a back. So it depends, I suppose, what position you're in. Do you like the weather? What way do you like the weather? But as a fan, obviously, if it was a dry day, it probably would have been a different game.
Have you watched it back?
I watched it back once.
Yeah,
I watched it back once.
Enjoyable experience, or you're like, I know what happens?
It's hard when you're watching yourself play because you don't really look at the collective performance, or as a fan, like, you kind of just look and go, where am I? What am I doing? Am I doing the right things? And, oh, well, what could I have done better there? For me, it was a really good day. It was winning an All-Ireland, like, you know. So for me, whatever way you win it is going to be enjoyable.
And the bit just before half-time, you kick the point. Are you cheering there? Is everybody in the room going, hey, it's you?
Yeah. Well, I think getting up there, and I think they were slagging more me dummy than the point score, and I got like, but it was nice to get up, and I had kind of a vision that I wanted to go and whoever was marking, take him on and try and get a score.
Yeah.
Because I normally get the easy scores. I'm in the right position and a bit of space and I kick it, but I said to myself that, you know, I'm going to actually take this man on and see if I get a point. So it's nice.
Phil, I think anybody watching this will be struck by the difference in the person who you seem to be off the field and the player you are on the field, where it strikes me you'd kill somebody on the field if you had to win the game. And, you know, you're a community leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're rooted in who you are and where you're from. How do you flick the switch from you off the field to you on the field?
I think it's something that you develop throughout your footballing career. Like, you know, you kind of get these attributes that make you as a footballer, and I've always been the person I am off the field anyway, like, you know, but it's on the field that you develop these things, and I suppose it's you look to what you're actually good at, and you try utilise that and help whatever way you can to get the better of your man. And then off the field, you kind of that's really who you are in life, like, you know. Yeah.
So it's your identity is the player, the person we don't really know or are only beginning to get to know, and that actually you, the Dublin footballer, is just a small part of that. Yeah, you would be. Like, I mean, many players are, you know, most players are different on the pitch than they are off the pitch because it's the sport, isn't it? Yeah. Probably I'm a bit more extreme to that, like, but it's interesting to be able to do that. Like, it's nice to be able to be something different, like, on the pitch and off the pitch. And do all your opponents always understand that you're actually a completely different person? No, definitely not. Like, I mean, I was on the international rules team there, and as a player, I'm probably someone that always, if I'm going to put my name to some team, I will back whoever is around me up. Like, you know, I'm going to put me 100% into it, and I think the Irish lads understood that when I played with them. Some of them I would have been having battles with it in the county, and they understood that I'm just there to do my job as a player, like, you know. So it's so some of the players there, that's the great thing about the international rules, and or if you're playing into divisionals, they understand the hold on, this fella is different off the pitch, you know. Let's not judge him on the pitch just based off what he does on the pitch. So fortunately that's not what people see in outside of the game, you know. Makes it a bit more difficult to be the same person next time you're up against them? Or actually easier because they're like, I have to just take this now? Or are you going to be nicer to them? No, I'm going to be the same person. I'm going to be the same person on the pitch because, as I said, that's what I'm putting my name to. If I wear a Dublin jersey or a Ballymun Kickhams jersey or an Ireland jersey, whoever's on my team, I'm going to fight for them, and I'm going to play I'm going to play to much of my potential as I can. Like. Well, listen, long may it continue, Philly. Thanks very much. Cheers. Cheers.